Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Wartilyo channel. It's been a long time since we've had an upload, but we're back because we are here for a very momentous occasion of the year, which is the Wartilyo GT 2025. Yeah. My name is Lance, and today I'm joined by...
My name's Patrick.
Yep. Sword Haven, as you know him on Discord. But yeah, Patrick's here with me to talk about the Wartilyo GT, and today we're going to give you guys a breakdown of the kinds of players, lists, grand alliances, all that sort of stuff. Kind of a snapshot of the meta that we're seeing. I also want to say that this is the first time I think in our country we've hit like a 40-player 2-day event.
Yeah.
So we're very hyped about this. We have 40 registrants, and we even have we have a couple of players from Baguio, a couple of players from Davao, and for people who are abroad who don't know about that, they're from from different islands. Davao is from the far south island from Mindanao, which is it's always great whenever they join us. We also have a player from Cagayan de Oro, in the form of Rick, and Baguio. It's a area that's a long drive away from here. I think it's like a couple hours drive.
Yeah, 4 or 5 hours.
4 or 5 hours drive, and we've got a bunch of players coming here for that. We also have 2 players who are of Serbian origin, and that's very exciting.
Our first foreigners.
Our first foreigner players to come here play AOS. We're very excited. So yeah, very wild weekend ahead of us. We've got our work cut out for us. Patrick's a player. I'm more of an organizer, but yeah, let's see. We'll see Patrick's reactions to his competition later.
Yeah.
All right, next. I'm going to be saying next a lot because Patrick's the one controlling the slides, but I'm sort of controlling the flow. So get used to it, peoples. Grand Alliance breakdown. As a surprise to literally no one, we've got 21 order players. That's more than 50% of the meta. And oh my god, what a headache that's going to be.
So can't wait to see which faction's the highest number.
It's not really a surprise, but we've got 9 chaos. Far less than I expected, because I think traditionally the Philippines has had a very chaos-driven meta, but a lot of newbies coming in might have changed it up. We got 7 in destruction. It used to be 8, but someone had to drop out, sadly. And the breakdown for destruction is actually very exciting because it's very unique. Lots of armies of renown.
Yeah.
And lastly, unfortunately for Nagash, the Philippines doesn't seem to be very much of a death country. We've only got 3 death players.
Death
Hopefully they do fairly well. Death is dead. Nagash can't eat it. Next. Okay, for faction breakdown, we've got 8 Stormcast Eternal players. And that is no, that's not good. That's bad. We're bad people because we've got 8 Stormcast players. They're all very different flavors of Stormcast, as you'll see later. But we can really see that the Stormcast and Skaven are kind of the prominent meta. You have a 1 in 5 chance to play a Stormcast player, and a 1 in 8 chance to play a Skaven player in your round 1. Following that, we've got Seraphon at 4. We've got Cities of Sigmar, Slaves of Darkness, and Sylvanet at 3 apiece. And the rest of the pack is more diluted. We've got Iron Jaws, Caradron, Ogre, Mod Tribes, OBR, and Sons of Behemoth at 2. And we've got 1 Gitz, 1 Lumineth, 1 Maggot Kid, and 1 Soulblight player.
15. Okay.
Next. We've got a lot of factions missing in the meta. Like so many. So this is an homage to Days of Future Past. But at the same time, there's so many meta armies that aren't there right now. Disciples of Tzeentch is 1. Flesh Eater Courts is the strongest army in the game right now, but it's not present in this tournament. So I find that kind of interesting. There's no Night Hunt, which is also very strong. No Beasts of Chaos either. No Idoneth, which has been making the rounds. And Fire Slayers, Daughters of Cain, Blades of Corn, less Hedonites, Bone Splitters, and Cruel Boys. A little less notable for not being here, but I think that'll be what makes this tournament very unique from tournaments abroad for sure.
Yeah, army seems to be a lot different. Compared to the previous GTs, we'd had a lot of these used to be there, but now it's not there. Might be the pool of players that we have, surprisingly.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I think Disciples won one of the GTs previously, and Blades of Corn did also as well. So not seeing those armies will probably change the meta a bit. Like the usual checks that you have for Stormcast aren't really there. I actually think that Slaves and Stormcast are really strong in the current scene, especially into Skaven. And yeah, it's a bit tough. I'm not sure how things will turn out. But yeah, that's where we're at for the missing factions. Quite a lot, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Next. For Manifestation Lores, we've got 8 players who didn't bring any, and Primal and Morbid Conjuration are tied. I find this very surprising because I'd expect Morbid Conjuration to go absolutely ham. Manifestations of Gorka Morka is wrong. There should only be one because one of the players dropped out, I believe. Yeah, so we also have Zogrok's Ironjaw's Manifestation, Twilight Sorceries, Manifestation of Doom. Everything feels pretty represented so far. Nothing super surprising. Morbid Conjuration, Primal Energy being the best ones.
Yeah, I think that's the usual take for, especially for us, for in our scene. I think that those are the most taken.
Yep, pretty much. All right, let's go next. No real analysis there. It's just Shackles is really good. Ravenax is really good. That's what it is. All right, so this is regiment count or drop count. So if you are playing as a 2-drop, then you're basically outdropping about more than 50% of the meta. You have a higher chance of controlling priority. If you are a 1-drop, you have an extremely high chance of controlling priority, as there are only 3 players who are 1-drops. If you are the 1/5 drop, I think it's a city army.
It's most likely
your
cities.
Opponent will always, you will always outdrop your opponent, but you will always control sort of like you'll always be able to have an advantage in deployment,
as well as having that new second bodyguard.
Yeah, which I think is pretty good into cities right now, actually, because giving hammers any kind of buff is kind of nuts.
Yeah,
so good stuff. And imagine one hammer's unit. If the city's player had 2 hammers units, imagine one of them being bodyguard and the other one being something like anti-infantry.
I think it's I think some people might choose field sergeant because
that's true.
Yeah, they need the movement. I think Fire Slayers will be really good with field sergeant. Actually, now that I think about it.
Oh man, field sergeant's so fun.
Yeah.
It's like Daughters of Cain, Maggot Kid of Nurgle. Both of those armies with field sergeant are just so dumb.
Yeah.
But no Fire Slayers, no Daughters of Cain.
Yeah.
there is a Maggot Kid player here. So if you are a 3-drop, I think it's a bit tenuous to see whether you control the game or not, for priority or not. I think that you have to basically like plan your deployment around doing a battle tactic regardless of going first or second.
Yeah.
So that's a bit rough. All right, next.
That's it.
Okay, so that's it for a breakdown of the meta. But we're not done yet. We will now go for the far more arduous task of talking about all of the army lists. The last time I did this with 24 lists, I wheezed and I gave up because it was just too much. But today I've got Patrick to help me. So every time I run out of breath, Patrick will help me by discussing the lists. I'm scared, but let's do it. Okay, let's go.
All right.
Shift gears.
Should be fun.
Yep. We're also trying to keep this video relatively short and breezy so that people can enjoy the meta. Because if I think if the video goes for far too long, like it's harder to digest the information. And also, like, okay.
I think we should also give the time to actually read the names of the lists of the players, just so we know what list they're playing. No, just kidding.
Oh my god, yeah. So if some of these ever make it to Honest Wargamer, they'll be great. Also, are we shifting?
Yes, I already moved.
Oh no, okay. So on your share screen, it's the end of slideshow. Oh, that's because.
Oh yeah. We talked about it.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. Sorry. Okay. So the first list that we have is one of our 3 death players. We've got Albert Rabelas, and he's a new player. He's got Bacchanal of Blood, which gives +1 to wound on the charge for vampire units. And his list is called Dead, Death, and Purple. He's got Manfred von Karstein.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, we're reading the names. Yeah, oh my god, some of these names are freaking dumb. So Manfred von Karstein's interesting. He's got that redeploy into combat trick that's sort of like Murderlust, but requires a command point, which is very annoying. Black Knights which slap when they charge. Blood Knights which slap even harder when they charge.
Yeah.
Death Rattle Skeletons probably for like holding objectives early. Yeah. You got Belladama and the Wolves and the Wolf Pack, something very normal. Like they're normally beasts, but Belladama has Under the Killing Moon, which lets them become like not regular beasts anymore.
Yeah.
They're like, and they have extra rend, I believe.
Yeah, pretty solid list. Lots of movement,
Conjuration.
violence, crazy movement shenanigans. Pretty good.
Yeah, very solid. Lots of screens, lots of counterpunch. Very Soulblight Gravelords. Next, we've got Alexis, Angelo, Sulit with the Golden Suns. And he's got the Sentinels of the Bleak Citadels, which allows him to give a 5-up ward save to a unit of the Ruination Chamber of his choice. And yeah, each hero phase, he's a 3-drop. He's one of those many 3-drops. And he's got a lot of very scary combo stuff. Patrick, you're a Stormcast player. You want to take this one?
Sure. So in his General's Regiment, he has a Lord Terminus. He also has a Prosecutor, and then a reinforced unit of Reclusions. So it's the really good combo with Lord Terminus with the Fight Next and with the Artifact Quicksilver Draught, which makes him fight first, which really goes well with the reinforced Reclusions. We have a Knight Zephyros, some Vanguard Paladors with Star Trek Javelins, which is really famous in the international meta as well as Vanguard Raptors with long strike crossbows. Really good. They have a lot of teleport. They have a lot of movement, run and charge, run and shoot. So lots of utility. Knight Arcanum with Envoy Heavens. This is the one that gives a 5-up ward save if a unit dies in a previous turn. Gryphounds, so possibly a screen or also anti-deep strike unit that deals mortal wounds if you deep strike near them. And then this ones are actually found really interesting because it wasn't what I was expecting it to be more. There's a lot more slaves players that will be coming to the GT. So he has Judicator with Skybolt Bows, which have an ability to give anti monsters rampages, which is interesting against the Bellacore ability. So that was surprising. As well as Vigilors, the staple of every Stormcast list that gives +1 to hit.
Oh my god,
it's really good.
GW, please nerf Vigilors.
They're too good for the points.
they're really good, giving everyone an all-out attack for hitting something. Is
really for the whole turn.
Yep. So this list is very strong. If you've got very few units or focused or rampage dependent, this list counters a lot of it. It's actually a very good list into, like you mentioned, it's very strong in Slaves Darkness, right?
Yeah.
And Alexis is in the local scene, at least. Alexis is always like a podium threat. If you don't know how to deal with him, then it's very hard to see yourself like advancing further into a 5-0, I think. But yeah, great list, very focused, very strong. Has defensive pieces, has very strong offensive pieces that can go very, very fast and just teleport around the map. So I'd be very scared of that list. Next, we've got Angel Dominador Castillo with his Rato de la Rosa list. It's the Skaven Warp Convocation, which lets him buff his shooting units, his Skyer units specifically. He's got a 2-drop Morbid Conjuration, Tankwall on Bone Ripper, Clan Rats, Reinforced Rattling Guns, Reinforced Storm Fiends. Oh no, not Reinforced Storm Fiends. Just normal Storm Fiends. And these are the shooting variety, not the teleporting and like melee variety. He's got a Vermin Lord Warps here with Scurry Away let him run away, and Foul Hide to heal him. And I think that Vermin Lords right now are very positioned to just be very tanky, very good utility pieces. He's got Warp Vault Scourgers and a unit of Clan Rats.
Yeah, those are the shooting units, right? Warp Vault Scourgers.
Yeah, Scourgers are a shooting unit, and the Rattling Guns are the really painful one. This is very good, like mid-range control.
Yeah.
So if you're fighting him with something like shifting objectives or something that focal points, something that forces you down to the middle, staying out of range of everything is going to be very tough. So I think Skaven in general suffers from getting double turned right now, unless because they have so many tools, but if they don't play their tools well, Skaven tends to struggle. It's really a thinking man's army.
Yeah, you really need to plan ahead with this one. But you do have a lot of prayers, and you also have a lot of shooting, which rewards you if you really position yourself really well.
Yeah, Skaven I think is so swingy. A lot of the popular lists nowadays play for the double really well, but at the same time, if they're out of range for the double, then I think they get punished really hard for that. Yeah. Okay, next we've got our first Sylvaneth player, Birdie Salva with the Briar Patch. Grand Alliance Order Sylvaneth Outcast. It's a 3-drop with Manifestations of the Deep Wood, led by Lady of Vines with Kurnoth Hunters with Reinforced Great Swords. Man, this unit hits like 10 different trucks altogether. It's so strong.
The mortal wounds.
It's got Belthanos, Gossamed Archers for the battle tactics, 3 Revenants, 2 units of Dryads, a Branch Witch, and Colonel Hunters with Scythes. So this list revolves around 2 major hammers.
Yeah.
And Belthanos for being a flank bully.
Belthanos gives run in charge to everyone, right? Not just...
He can give run in charge to 3 different units.
Yeah. It goes really well with the ones he has. Lady of Vines, nice.
Yeah, no, I think the list is very balanced. It works around the idea of 3, right? So you get Belthanos, the 2 Kurnoths with run in charge, and then whichever side is losing for whatever reason, whichever fails the rampage, or if Belthanos fails the rampage to reposition himself properly, you can strike and fade with 1 unit, and then Belthanos will probably power through to get out of the way. Very mobile, very dynamic army.
Yeah.
Scary to fight in a brawl because of all the healing and the fact, and he has 3 different units of screens and a teleport, 2 screens and a teleporter unit. Very good. Warsinger also gives extra movement to his foot troops. Seed of Rebirth on Branch Witch is, I think it's a good choice. It's interesting. Normally you see Seed of Rebirth on something tankier, but Birdie didn't opt for Spirit of Derthu or
I think it's good. At least he has an extra way to come back to be able to cast more spells. I think it'll be more spell focused.
Yeah, plus with the Branch Witch being so close to the front lines, being a War Singer, right? I think it's good to have that kind of bonus. Also, in more central, because of outcasts, he can reduce control from enemy units that's sharing an objective with the units that he's using. So I think that's why he's sort of going for part volume and part hammers. It's going to be hard to wrestle him from primaries early in the game.
Especially with the threat of Scythes and Great Swords just waiting to get hit.
They're both really strong. They're both blenders. They're really strong. All right, we're going next to our first OBR, our second death player. Wow, we're getting the death players pretty early. We've got Knight BJ Recio with Knight to A3.
Just reference, I think.
Yes, quote unquote superior war game reference. He's got Aether-Wrought Machineries. I think that's a very interesting choice. He wants to be able to reroll charges and control with the pendulum.
And also give -1 to Little Archon if you want to get near. Is this the one with
Cogs, right?
Cogs, yeah.
Aether-Wrought Machineries, I think it's the one with Cogs. I'm going to double check just in case. But he's got Archon, the Mortarch with the Black Sacrament, Cavalos Death Riders, Liege Cavalos, Load of Saturation, and Aura of Sterility. And I think that's an anti-shooting. It's anti-shooting.
Yeah, it's -1 to wound and a 5 of ward for each Cavalos.
Yeah, the Aura of Sterility is -1 to wound, right? No, Aura of Sterility is something else.
I think it's the 5 of ward. The Load of Saturation is the -1 to wound.
Aura? Wait, really? Let me just double check that super.
Oh, there's also Xanthos in the list, as well as another reinforcement Death Riders.
You're right. It's -1 to wound rolls for all shooting units.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting. And it's got Arch Cavalos Xanthos, very hero heavy actually. Another unit of Death Riders reinforced, Vokmortian, Terratic cohort. So very good balanced list. It's got two major hammers and a lot of support for those hammers in case you get. It's hard to basically kill all the heroes for this one because he's got 4 heroes that can issue orders really efficiently.
Yeah, he also has a Terratic cohort for tactics, for threatening the backside of the opponent.
Yeah, for tactics or late game tactics for sure. Cavalos Lance is also very good.
I think Morrison is also good. I think I forgot what he did.
Yeah, I'm not super keen on that honestly.
Oh, it costs a command point. It costs a command. He does that ability where it costs a command point to use non-core abilities like move. I forgot the other charge. Move, charge, cast a spell, all that. It costs an extra command point to use. So that's really interesting. It makes you really work for using all of your abilities.
That's true. So this is very interesting because Cavalos Lance gives BJ the option to pin his opponent in the deployment zone, but Vokmortian is a very good mid-range threat. So it's going to be very interesting to see how BJ navigates having 2 very different units with very different tempos in his army.
Yeah.
Because Yeah, that's it. That's all I got to say about it. But it's an interesting
It's
list.
it's a lot of
He has to
utility.
commit to a strat. He definitely has to commit to a strategy of either going all in or fighting in the midfield.
Yeah,
Like
and
going halfway with OBR is kind of tough.
yeah, with Cavallo's Deathlands, at least he has the option to either move back or move forward to set the pace of the fight.
Yeah. All right. So now we're going to Boggy B. He is one of our guests from abroad. He is the captain of Team Serbia, and we're very honored to have him with us.
Okay.
He's got his list is just called Wartilyo, and I think that's because in the app he just called it Wartilyo, which is fine. No, I don't mind at all. He's a 2-drop, Lore of Ruin, Forbidden Power, very so he's going for tricks, a more manifestation lore with lots of tricks with the bridge, I think being the best one. Offers a very good artificial screen for Skaven, because Skaven tends to be kind of squishy. He's got a Grace here on Screaming Bell with Foul Hide and Scurry Away to help him run away and heal up and buff up his units nearby. And them increasing the range of his aura to 13 inches is really big. 2 units of Clan Rats, a Claw Lord, probably going to be a Field Sergeant if I were a betting man. Reinforced Warp Fire Throwers for mid-range shooting, and 2 units of Rattling Guns for... Reinforced Rattling Guns, man, this is such a calculator army, right?
It's a really good list. It's a very aggressive, position-heavy type of list.
Yeah, no, this would like to set up in the middle or something. Usually set up in the middle or dare you to come to it while you take top of round and then just shoot the crap out of you. What I think is scary for this list for me is the mental strain it takes to play it for 5 rounds. Because playing 2 units of Rattling Guns, rolling like 18d6 shots to determine number of attacks, and then rolling to hit, and then rolling to doing it for like several rounds in several games on a day. You need a lot of practice mentally to get this to work.
Yeah. Gotta get that dice ready for when you're gonna roll.
Yeah, you gotta have very good like mental practice for this. But if you know how to play this list, and I know Boggy is a very experienced, very strong player, then you're gonna have a really hard time fighting it because the math is gonna be on his side unless you outsmart him, which tall order to do that.
Yeah, lots of volume, lots of damage. Warp Convocation is the one that gives something on a 5 and 6, right?
This
Rend
is the one that gives extra rolls to wound and rend if you roll hot enough.
Yeah. So it's really shooting heavy.
Yeah, so you can pick up the 3 Skyr units to be targets. On a 1, he hurts himself. Skaven. 2 to 5, he gets +1 to wound rolls for all shooting attacks for the rest of the turn. And lastly, more power on the 6 adds 1 to rend. So it's very possible for it to have Rattling Guns at rend wound on 3 and rend that's
3.
rend 2.
Yeah, or possibly rend 3 for Rattling Guns. Oh, is that right?
Rend 2.
Okay. Warfire Throwers have the rend 3 if they get that 6.
Yeah. Lots of utility, lots of great synergy in this army. I think Boggy's army is very scary.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go next to the next one. Carlo, Miguel, Chua. Guy brings great energies to the table. Always has a smile, whether or not things go according to plan. Monster Casino Filipino. Oh, man. He knows exactly what he's playing. He's Skaven Fleshmeld Menagerie, which buffs, instead of randomly buffing or hurting the shooting units, is buffing or hurting the ogre units. And he's got Thankwall on Bone Ripper. This is our second Thankwall, I think.
Yeah, that's
2 units of Brood Terrors. Really hard to kill if you don't finish them off. A Helping Abomination, also hard to kill if you don't finish them off. A reinforced Storm Fiend unit. This guy's going all in with the big crunchy units. A Master Molder with Foul Hide and Short Tempered. And Storm Fiend. So he gets extra bonuses to charge. Foul Hide on the Master Molder, maybe not as effective as on a Vermin Lord, but still good if it means you need to commit to kill him or he's going to keep healing up.
Yeah. It's really interesting. He also has a lot of combat abilities with the Helpit Abomination and the Brute Terror. I think the Brute Terror is the one that if it... Or was it the Helpit Abomination? If it dies, it's something... I think it has an ability, you either die immediately and then you deal a lot of damage or something, another effect.
Oh, it's Helpit.
It was the Helpit, yeah.
Yeah, on the 5 or 6, it comes back. On the 3 and 4, I think it just hurts everything around. And on the 1 and 2, it's just dead. I think that's the roll-up. And if I'm wrong, correct me in the comments, please. Okay, so that's next. Chris Villegas from Board Gaming Madness. Always love to have him here. He's playing his Despised Icons with Slave's Darkness. He's a 3-drop. This is one of the lists I'm rooting for just because he's bringing Archeon and a reinforced unit of the Varren Guard.
You rarely see Archeon these days.
Yeah. You very rarely see him. And I remember early in 4th ed when it was dominating, especially like in the French meta.
Yeah.
But he's got his manifestations of malevolence, going all in the Slave of Darkness. Got a Chaos Sorcerer Lord for that extra ward save. Infernal Puppet, Radiance of Dark Glory to heal monsters around him. I think it's for healing Archeon. He's got our unit of Chaos Warriors for holding the line there, and Chaos Sorcerer Lord. Probably one of these Chaos Sorcerer Lords are probably going to be holding an objective or attacking things for the lulls. See if it can turn into a Demon Prince. That'd be very interesting.
Yeah.
But this whole army is
the Baron Guard as well. Even though a lot of people prefer what do you call those? Chaos. The one that deals big damage for Chaos Chosen. You still gotta respect the damage for Baron Guard, still being able to fight twice.
Yep, no, for sure. So it's a very strong, it's a very interesting techie list, big brain list. If he plays this properly, it's very scary, not to be underestimated. All your pieces are on one side though, so many objective maps. This might struggle in missions with a lot of objectives, but it can grind out a win if he focuses like on a certain side. Also, God's Wrath Warband, the only real sub-faction Slaves of Darkness really play. Just turning objectives into like into like landmines. Next, we've got the Attorney, Christian Ong with the Troll list. He's gonna bring the Trogard with a 3-drop. He's got the spell Lord of the Clammy Dank and Manifestation Lord Dank Manifestations going all in on the Gits tech. He's got Scragrot the Loon King, his general, who can control where the moon goes. He's got Trug the Trog King with Reinforced Rock Guts, our unit of MSU Rock Guts, Squig Hoppers, Dankhold Trog Boss, with Loon Touch and Clammy Cowl, making him really hard to kill.
Yeah.
He's got a unit of Reinforced Rock Guts as well. And of course, the Bad Loon Shrine. This, I think, is your bog standard Trogoth list. Also, for people watching, we're going to be using the old Gits Tome rules because the new Gits Tome has not been properly circulated in our country at around this time. And I think the Gits players are a lot more comfortable playing the older rules.
Yeah, really tanky list. Lots of movement. There's a chance that since their 3-drops, potentially some of their opponent could give them Field Sergeant as well, making the Trogoths move, I think, 6 or 7 inches.
I don't think, no, this list doesn't have a hero that's inside the regiment.
Right.
So I don't think he has that option. But I think he's not going for the Honor Guard because he puts Scragrot in a regiment by himself. But he's probably just trying to deny slay the entourage. A very convenient slay the entourage from his opponent.
Yeah.
Which I think is very smart.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So it's good. At least he has a lot of sources of being able to control the moon as well, with Scragrot being in the list. So
for sure, like
the 5-up. +1 save.
+1 to save, yeah. So for sure, being able to control the moon for Trogoths, especially if you're gonna brawl in the center from rounds maybe 2 to 3, is so important.
Right.
List is good. You need to know how to handle Trogoths. If you don't know how to handle Trogoths, you're gonna have a really bad time. Yeah. Also, Attorney's been doing really well lately. And hopefully it translates more into the GT.
Yeah.
Up next, it's your boy
Dan.
You want to talk?
It's Dan. It's Dan. I didn't know that's his last name. All right,
it's your boy.
It's my boy.
It's your Padawan.
Hey Dan. All right. So his list is Pray and Roll Hybe. Hybe, I think, is the name of his store. No Drogo on South. So he's playing Sentinels of the Bleak Citadels for Stormcast Eternals. He has a 3-drop. His Prayer Lore is Prayer of the Stormhost, and then his manifestation is Primal Energy. So he has a Lord Commander, Bastion Cartelos, as his general, and then a sub-hero, Lord Terminus with Quicksilver drop. So we talked about earlier the Reclusion Terminus combo. He also has a Reinforced Prosecutors, making it very fast, very huge threatening unit against smaller heroes or terrain with that 3d6 charge and 12-inch movement. You also have Vanguard Raptors, long strike crossbows, very standard for Stormcast shooting, as well as a Lord Relictor with Vigilers. For the prayer. So, okay. So I think there was also a missing detail here with the Spell Lord. They also have the Spell Lord for Stormcast as well. Since I can see there's a Knight Arcanum, so there's a caster. There's Vanquishers as well for anti-infantry, as well as another unit of Vigilors. Yeah, so it's a good list.
Right.
I think it's a very balanced list. It gives the weakness of some of the on-foot units that have slow movement, like 5 inches. With Bash and Carthalos, they can give pre-game move for the prosecutors, for the reclusions, for the vigilors, giving them a lot of options to reposition themselves after deployment. What else?
The Lord Terminos being a hero inside the regiment gives him the field sergeant option as well, which benefits the pregame move, right?
The pre-game move,
because you can stack that.
Yep.
You can choose since you can choose what abilities to use in what order in the deployment phase as well, just like every other phase in the game. He can say, I give field sergeant to Lord Terminos, and then he can have the infantry do the pregame move, which I think is very brilliant.
Yeah, so that's 14-inch movement for the prosecutors, 7 inches movement for the reclusions. So giving them if pre-game move and the regular movement, that gives them a 14-inch possible movement, giving them a higher threat range than what you normally see.
What the thing about this list, that if I had to talk about what I think is a weakness of the list, it's a list with a lot of good starting momentum with the pregame move and such, but pregame move lists tend to want to control whether to go first or second. And being a 3-drop is a very brave choice.
Yeah.
Because it's possible for you to show your opponent you're going to do a pregame move, and then your opponent chooses, okay, I'll choose to go first and punish whatever units overextend, right?
Yeah, there's definitely some things that he needs to prepare for, especially if he's going second, not having the option to go first.
Yeah. So it's very tough. This list, I think, wants to go first. Usually, it's the impression I'm getting. But who knows? Maybe he's trying to bait his opponent to taking first so that he can take the double. That's also possible.
Yeah, it's also possible.
So not counting it out. But yeah, that's all I gotta say about it.
I like it. Pretty balanced. You can see what he's really he wants to do with the list. So that's good.
All right. Next, we're going over to our very own Dennis David. He is playing Taliban of Nurgle for the extra mortal damage from disease. He's playing Order of the Scarlet Rot. The army is themed around Elden Ring. It's such a gorgeous army. I hope we get to see it for us, in the running for Best Painted. It's such a brilliantly themed army. He's got Twilit sorceries.
Twilight.
This one's a very interesting choice. Yeah, Twilight sorceries. This one's a very interesting choice. You don't see this one very often. In fact, I think he is the only one using this.
I think Twilight's the one with
Ybanez, Palisade, and Spell Portal.
So anti-shooting and then I think Deep Strike or anti-commands, I think, is what it does, right?
I actually think that Twilit it's Twilit, not Twilight. Weird. I don't know.
Is it Twilit?
But it's spelled that way at least.
Okay.
They're so weird. But I hope it's pronounced Twilight. It bothers me so much. But I think it's really good for Nurgle. The Prismatic Palisade is such a good tool for blocking. It's one of the few things that you can use to effectively really block the bigger pieces in the army.
Yes.
And Spell Portal is really good for getting in for comboing with the sub-faction. He's playing a great and clean one with Grandfather's Blessing and Witherstave, Spoilpox Scrivener, Herald of Nurgle, another hero inside the regiment, probably to set up for Field Sergeant.
Yep.
Morbidex Twiceborn is a good tanky unit. 3 units of Nurglings, including a reinforced Nurglings. He really likes the Morbidex Nurgling combo, it seems.
I think that gives him Deep Strike, right? Nurglings? Or do they no longer do that? Oh, they don't do that anymore.
They don't do that anymore. That was third ed. So, but they're fast now, which is really scary for Nurglings. He's got Sloppity Bile Piper, a Herald of Nurgle, the Herald of Nurgle, Plague Drones, Plague Bearers, and more Plague Bearers. I really like this list. This list is meant to grind this opponent out. I think it doesn't have very obvious hammers, but if you see where the damage is coming from, if you can't solve this game fast, this list is gonna eat you alive. It's very good at brawling in the middle.
Yes.
It's very, very tanky and very scary. And Dennis has been playing this quite a lot, so he's someone to look out for as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Earl Quinto. I'm feeling a blast from the past.
Oh!
His list name is Behold Funny. You want to talk about this because it's Stormcast?
Sure. So he's playing Lightning Echelon. So this is the one that's specific for Extremis chamber. So almost all of his units in the array is Extremis chamber. He has Lord of the Storm, Spell Lore, and Prayer of the Storm host Prayer Lore. He has Aether Rot Machineries. So that's cool. He has Aventis Fire Strike as his general. He has 6 Vanguard Raptors with long strike crossbows. And then what I really missed third ed because he has fulminators. I think 10. He has 10 fulminators that deal what was that? And charge +1, so he brings them back to 3 damage. So it's a really good blast from the past units that are. I think they're still kind of good in this edition, especially with the charge +1 and other abilities. With the Lightning Echelon, they also have the ability to strike first on a 3+ just for 1 unit per turn. So that's really cool. Gives them be able to fight twice with 2 units at the same time if they make the charge. Lord Celestant on Dracoth. I don't remember what that is.
It's very rare. It's a very rare pick.
Oh, this is the one
I don't actually know what it does.
So this is the one that what do you call this? Okay. So he has the fight next ability as well. So if you give 1 strike first and then you fight immediately after with another unit, and then you can activate normally with another unit. So you could possibly fight with 3 units at the same time in just one combat turn.
Could you give this guy Quicksilver drop? You could, right?
Yeah, I think you can. I think you should be able to.
Interesting. Well, Mirror Shield for the anti-shooting is also a really good choice.
Yeah.
No, I think it makes sense. His army can be very fragile to shooting and volume, so that's really good. But then if you kill one of the units, he uses Envoy of the Heavens to give a 5 ward save to one of the bigger units, and in case he loses the double, which is really scary.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, and being able to bring back 2 more fulminators with the Stormcast ability isn't also bad. Or you can also bring back 3 Raptors if ever. So
yeah, and Aether Rot Machineries for the reroll charges. I think I know what this guy's trying to do. He's not a good person. It's very scary.
It's really fun.
It's a very fun list. It is behold funny indeed. All right. So next we're gonna go over to Emmanuel Pasana, Gobyerno ng Pilipinas. For the people who are abroad, Governor of the Philippines, if that wasn't obvious. He's got the Sun's Claw Star host, which lets him pile in 3 inches with Saurus units or Croxigor units to deal extra damage. He's led by a Slant Star Master for recycle units, and he has probably a bodyguard of Saurus warriors over there. He's got a Skink Starseer with Kotal Familiar, which allows him to add D6 to the casting roll that he has. He's got 2 units of Hunters of Wanchi with Dart Pipes. I can't remember. The Bolas are the ones that are -1 to charge. The Dart Pipes. Yeah, the Dart Pipes are the ones that subtract 1 to wound rolls for target's combat attacks for the rest of the turn. It's really good for being tanky, right? Like if he charges it to you and he gives you -1 to wound, or you charge it to him and he covering fires with them, it's really effective. He has a unit of reinforced Croxigors, the best unit in Seraphon in my opinion right now.
My favorite.
He has Saurus Old Blood with Reptilian Cunning, Raptidor, a unit of Agrodon Lancers, and a unit of Reinforced Warriors. So very good brawly list. So for fighting down the center. With he wants you to come to him, I think, and then give you -1 to wound, and he's gonna slowly grind you out with the sub-faction ability. I think that's really good.
Yeah.
And then Primal Energy for the healing and the anti-wards in case things get dicey, and Ravenax for a long-range threat.
Yeah, lots of choices actually.
Yeah.
Lots of movement, lots of deep strike, lots of teleporting. Very interesting.
Yeah. Reptilian Cunning for the command point management. If the Saurus Old Blood charges that turn, he can give an all-out attack for free.
Oh, that's cool.
It is really cool.
Especially for his Croxigors.
Okay, we got back-to-back dinosaurs. Up next, we have Enzo Evangelista with Agrodon Cavalry, the list. It's 4 units of reinforced Agrodon Lancers and a Saurus Scar Veteran with Beastmaster and Blood Rage Pendant for extra damage and movement. And a Realm Shaper engine. It's got Sunclaw Star Host for extra grindiness as well.
24.
So Enzo is 12 years old, as far as I remember. And this is exactly what he wants to do. He wants to play his dinosaurs riding dinosaurs, move forward and slap you in the face. And if you can't deal with an all-out charge, then I think you lose. That's
every kid's dream, just to control an army of dinosaurs charging towards the enemy. So cool.
That's true. It is really cool. And Enzo has dominated tournaments before. Because if you don't know how to deal with this, you're basically dead.
He has one thing on his mind: charge.
Exactly. This is a mid-lane bull. This is a mid-tier bully army. You know, you can't get you won't be able to get a 4 if you don't know how to deal with like cavalry spam. All right. Up next, we've got our friend Francois Pullen, or Frank. He's got God's Wrath Warband. Unsurprisingly, he's a 1-drop with Forbidden Power because he wants that bridge. He's got the Be'lakor Reinforced Chosen, unit of Fear Knights, Reinforced Varangard, and a unit of Furies. He's given his Chosen a Banner of Screaming Flesh, so they can get an automatic Mark of Slanesh for the 3d6 charge. He's going for the 1-drop. He wants to control the game.
Yep.
Probably wants to bait his opponent to overextending or be able to pin his opponent in their deployment zone.
Yep.
Very strong army. Yeah, very strong army in the middle, very strong army on the charge. Unfortunately, slaves you have to be very technical in order to be able to, take slaves apart right now. With Be'lakor, especially with Dark Master, trying to use his Dark Master ability to stop his opponent from activating until his next hero phase on the 3+ for each ability they try to use. And when you charge against his unit, Be'lakor, if they're within combat range of Be'lakor has a 50% chance of giving them strike first, which is terrifying.
Really scary.
Yeah,
either way, there's a chance they'll get to fight you first before you even know it.
Yep. No, for sure. It's a very
and then with the fight twice ability, doesn't that make their second fight normal instead of fight last?
Yes.
Yeah, that's also terrifying. That's scary to know.
It's very scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're charging into the hammer, get ready to feel it.
Yep.
Up next, we got Hugo, Valor, Phoenix, Yonzon. What a gorgeous name. Playing Seasons of Carnage, as opposed to Seasons of War, I guess. It's got the Outcast sub-faction similar to Birdie. Manifestations of Deepwood. Actually, lots of Birdie Salva markings on this list.
Yeah.
Lady of lots of similarities. He's also got Lady of Vines and a unit of reinforced greatswords and scythes.
Oh, except there's Derpo. I think Derpo's the difference.
Yeah, Derpo is the difference. While Birdie has more dryads.
Yeah.
He's got Derpo with the Warsinger and Seed of Rebirth. So it's a Derpo that can hit for like 6 damage a swing and rebirth himself, which is very scary. Warsinger for the extra movement. It's very similar to Birdie's list.
Yes.
I'm not going to go over this very much, but it's scary with more hammers. It's more smashy for sure.
Yep. See the rebirth on Durtu as well, so he can come back.
Up next, we've got Jericho Zamesa with the Frosties. He's an Ogre Maw Tribe player. You want to handle this one?
Sure. He has Ogre Maw Tribes, Peace Handlers, which gives them an extra damage to the dice when they make impact hits. He's a 4-drop. He's Prayer Lord's Everwinter Prayers. For his General's Regiment, he has a Frost Lord and Stonehorn with Gruesome Trophies and Touched by the Everwinter, so +1 to hit against heroes, and then making him a priest. He has another priest, Huskard on Stonehorn, with Harpoon Launcher. Another Frost Lord on Stonehorn. A unit of Noblars, possibly for screens and objective control, as well as another unit of Huskard on Stonehorn. So that's 4 Stonehorns so far. 5th Stonehorn, Huskard on Stonehorn as well, with Blood Vulture. He's really banking on a lot of prayers. I think he has 4 priests. So being able to save up for that 5-up ward turn until your next hero phase is really big.
Yep.
2 Frost Sabers for possibly battle tactics, possibly screens, as well as objective holders. Oh, there's another one, Huskard on Thunder Tusk as well. With
our priest.
I think this is the one that gives. Oh well, what is it?
The Rampage is strike last on the charge, right? I think.
Yes, you're right. Yeah. This is the one that gives strike last. So if you think it's bad that he's already charging you, potentially dealing 4 to 6 mortal wounds, making you strike last for it as well makes it all the more tough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 Stonehorns, potentially dealing 4 to 6 mortal wounds each on every time they charge. It's really scary.
It is very scary. It looks straightforward, but this army without the ward save naturally play.
Yeah, bringing them back to their good old days where they have 5 up ward saves and not -1 damage.
Yeah, I think the advantage though is that you can now give 5 up ward save to the Thunder Tusk as well as the if he plays it properly. But
Yes.
yeah, if this guy runs you over, it's very scary, very
Yeah.
smashy.
Yeah, he also has a Mop
Also
It.
has the Mop It.
Yeah.
Does the Mop It affect
the Mop
his own units? Or...
It's not specific. I don't think specifically for this one. It doesn't get to use its full potential, but I think it's also another source of potential damage if in case he gets charged. At least there's more chip damage.
That's true. Also, the Mop It's a gorgeous model.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. Okay, so up next we've got Jerome
What's that?
with KK4SDGV2V. It looks like a license. It looks like a code or a password or a license plate. But Jerome, the father of Enzo that we mentioned earlier, Jerome Evangelista, he's got Stormcast Eternal's Lightning Echelon, just like we saw earlier. But this guy's a very different flavor of Stormcast. You want to talk about this?
Oh, sure.
There's another Stormcast right after this, so you can.
All right, I'll do that one. So many Stormcasts. Who plays? Drops.
Oh my god.
His 2 drops. He has Lord of the Storm for his spells.
Yeah.
Manifestation Lord with Primal Energy. So he has a Krondis. So that's enabled him. I think he has a +2 to cast, making the manifestations and the spell lords more reliable to cast.
Yeah.
Really tanky, really strong unit. Storm Drake Guard, that's reinforced with Drake Rider Lances. So they'll be able to fight first with the Lightning Echelon ability. He also has a Karazai. Really strong, tanky, lots of damage unit. He also has Vanquishers and 2 Vindictors. Vindictors are the one that are anti-charge, so it's a more defense. Yeah, at least he has a strong screen that can potentially fight first if they get charged. He's brought this list a few times, and it's been really fun being able to see 2 big dragons and even more dragons in the table. It's like Game of Thrones.
Dude, it's a very honest list, right?
Yes.
Can you handle 6 dragons? If you can't handle 6 dragons, if you can handle 6 dragons, you win.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's a lot of damage. That potentially, if they make the charge with Lightning Echelon as well, being able to fight with 2 units at the same time, Karazai and the Stormbreak Guard. Really strong combo.
Yeah, it's very good.
With Krondis as well being a strong caster. On top of that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. Next, Jesse Carlo Ybanez. Pinabili lang ng suka. For people who don't speak Tagalog, I was asked to buy suka or vinegar essentially, which is it's a very weird inside joke in the community in our language. I guess it's funny. Pat, sorry, I'm gonna.
Oh, right, yeah, you're right. All right, Stormcast. So Stormcast Eternals. So same as before, Sentinels of the Bleak Citadels for the 5 ward for Ruination Chamber units. He is a 3-drop. He has Lord of the Storm, Stormhost, Manifestation of the Storm. So he's the first one I've seen that it's been using the Stormcast manifestations, which is very interesting because it gives a lot of different abilities that are more utility than other ones that focus more on damage. He has Ionos Cryptborn, Warden of the Lost Souls, so he has Priest that can pray twice. A Night Quester that gives a Fight Next ability to another, I think it's a Warriors unit, I believe.
Right.
With Quicksilver drop, so like Terminals combo, it can potentially play into that. Quester Soulsworn, which gives him the ability to teleport once per game, giving him more utility for tactics. Vigilors, a standard pick for Stormcast for +1 to hit. Ooh, he has an Indrasta Celestial Spear. So very big on, especially with the anti-monster and double damage against monsters, and 3d6 charge, threatening the backline potentially. Knight Azeros. I think this is the one that looks like a prosecutor, but I don't know specifically what it does. But he has that as a second hero, potentially for giving +2 move. Yeah, Field Sergeant as well. And then he has a reinforced unit of prosecutors. Oh, he has Shock and Awe. So it gives them -1 to hit for people that for units that deep strike during that turn. Oh, there's also Neve. Neve Black Talon. So he's cool. the group is cool, being able to have a 5-up ward save and then being able to jump from one hero, from Neve or to Neve's companion or Lorai. Being able to do that is a really cool ability. Gives you more place to move, more time to do more tactics or play more safe.
Yeah. So it's very strong. You can't underestimate this kind of list. You gotta love hitting power, though. It looks thin on paper, but it's got a lot of hitting power.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on to John Paul Taylor, one of our own fellow Wartilyo guys. For statistics only, he's got Fortress City Defenders, and what this does is I should be researching while you read other things. Fortress City. Oh, it's got a dash. That's why it's not showing up. Apologies. Give me just a moment.
What you're checking? Oh, the Knight of Zeros, what he does is he heals units, so more choices. Yeah.
Oh no, I'm checking on Fortress City Defenders.
I was checking on Knight of Zeros because I forgot.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. Okay, so for Fortress City Defenders, subtract 1 to wound rolls for attacks that target cities with Sigmar while they're wholly within friendly territory. So probably gonna go for a sort of castle-y kind of strategy.
I think it only applies for the first round, so it's a more anti Alpha Strike.
Anti-Alpha Strike. Yep. Free Guild Marshal with Relic Envoy with Heirloom, Brazier of Holy Flame to bring back. Reinforced Free Guild Cavaliers for a very punchy cavalry unit. Fusel Major and Ogre Warhawk with Master Ballistics, which gives +1.
I think +1 to hit.
I believe.
I think it's +1 to hit. No, I think it's +1 to wound.
No,
I think it's +1 to wound.
Yeah, it's +1 to wound if you give an all-out attack to a unit.
Yeah.
Or if you use the command within a certain range of it.
Fusel Major also gives +1 to hit for the target that he shot. So lots of sources of +1 to hit and buffs for your shooting.
Yeah, he's going crazy with 2 units of great cannons.
Yeah.
And he's got the bug standard Rune Lord with 2 hammerers. Callus and Toll with the Free Guild Command Corps, which is very good at disruption.
Mm-hmm.
And the Free Guild Fusiliers, reinforced Toll companions, and a Battle Mage. I think it's a very balanced list.
Yeah.
It's relying on a lot of very swingy shooting. And if he's able to basically wrestle the center and establish his fortress down the middle, it's going to be hard to pry him off with how hardy hammers are. That unit, I think, is probably the best unit in Cities of Sigmar right now.
Yes, I have to agree.
And allows shooting.
Yeah, I think it's a really balanced list.
Callus and Toll also has a penchant for deep striking. So if you overextend too much to meet and leave some vulnerable parts when you're meeting the castle, Callus and Toll can just teleport out, take your objective, and laugh as they kill all your wizards and your priests, because they do double damage to all wizards and priests.
Yeah.
So, good, solid list so far.
Yeah,
4
like
drop,
very.
Yep. Next.
Oh, he's 4 drops. He's not the one who went 5 drops. Okay.
He's not. It's. I think Dani did it, but we'll get to Mark later. So, Mark Dani later. So, Joseph Garay. His list is called Fun Detected Initializing Suppression Protocol Seraphon, based on the Croak meme of the same name. He got Sunclaw Star Host. We saw that earlier. He's led by Lord Croak, which basically controls the hero phase. A unit of reinforced Agrodon Lancers, reinforced Croxigors, a unit of Saurus Guard for guarding Croak. Skink Stars here, which allows him to give ward saves to units depending on the number of which depends on the round of the game. Coatl Familiar for the D6. Beastmaster for extra movement, because I think he wants the option to Alpha Strike. Starstone Bola, Hunters of Wanchi for the -1 dice to charge if they hit you with shooting. Dark Pipes for -1 to wound. Yeah. Bastillodon with Arc of Sotek for a very annoying, brawly, surprisingly mobile despite its middling speed. Bastillodon that can do mortal damage in combat. Lore of Celestial Manipulation and Morbid Conjuration. Very solid list all around. This list is a contender, I think, for podium, because it's very standard. Like, plus all the asterisms that you have to deal with Seraphon for the extra casting, extra armors, extra save rolls rather, and the extra movement. It's really like up the job to bring out the most in this list. It's very strong.
Yeah, trying to kill Croak is really difficult. It's not as easy, and then you have other units to worry about on top of that. So yeah.
Absolutely. Next, we're going to Joshua Manalansan, one of our good friends who hosted the previous GT. He's playing Broads, Hogs, and Bods. He's playing Sons of Behemoth Breaker Tribe with King Broad. He's got the War Stomper, Mega Gargan under it. Probably most likely going to be Prized Beast for that extra +1 to hit, which is really crazy on Sons of Behemoth. Extra Callous Tweet for the extra attack, extra rend on his Stomp attacks, which is very strong. Monstrously tough, making him 40 health. Oof. And while he's next to Broad, he gets a 6-up ward save because of the Breaker Tribe.
Yeah.
He also has Kragnos, and as well as the Regiment of Renown, the Hurtlen Hogs, Grunta, Tusk, and Tusk Boss.
I've never seen anyone use this before.
I have also never seen anyone use the Hurtlen Hogs. And I think that it's a very inspired choice, especially with Kragnos. This army is like extremely mobile.
Yeah.
So you charge into him, he counter charges you and claps you back. But if he charges into you, he can give his whole army charge Kragnos. And Kragnos himself basically runs monsters over by himself.
What's also good is everyone moves the same. I think everyone moves 10. So there's no one like everyone that like some people make other units go ahead. These guys are all gonna walk in the same path and then just get 3d6 charge from Kragnos.
Yeah, and the Regiment of Renown is very special because once per game, it can basically make it so that for every unit, not just one unit, okay, within 1 inch of a hog that charge or one of the pigs that charge,
okay,
you can roll D3 mortal damage if it's infantry extra 1 damage, which is really crazy. Ooh. That's basically the mini Wa ability.
Yeah.
And in the combat phase, as a rampage, you can pick a unit, one of the 2 pigs, and the target can just move D6, but it must end in combat. Then you can add 1 to the momentum for free, which is really strong because allowing it to even giving it a 3d6 charge and then being able to move an extra d6 to reposition to target like a squishy hero and then power through later is actually insane. This army is a lot more technical and speedy than people will give it credit for.
Yeah, charging will give them what, 4 at start of the combat phase. They have 4 points for their
the maximum is 3 momentum.
Oh, it's 3, so they'll get max from just charging and getting the thing.
Yeah, so I think no, they won't. I think running is 2 momentum now and charging is
charging and then the extra 1 for the d6.
Yes, so it's probably gonna be 2 momentum, which makes them hit like trucks anyway. I don't know how this will fare against Slaves of Darkness, but the list is very scary, and it's basically double. It's very strong on the double, like a lot of the lists in this meta right now.
Yeah.
All right, up next we've got our very first 5-drop. He's got a city. We got a Cities of Sigmar army, Battle Mage on Griffin with Grizzled Veteran, 10 Free Guild Cavaliers, so that's reinforced. Collegiate. What does Collegiate do again?
It gives +1 to cast.
+1 to casting, very good. And then Grizzled Veteran is memorize all these yet. Apologies. You can only hit them on 4s. That's really annoying.
Yeah, so good luck trying to kill.
Oh, sorry, you can only wound. Sorry, you can only wound them on 4s.
Yeah.
Worse.
Yeah, right. It's worse.
Monsters. It's really strong. It's so scary to fight because monsters that normally wound on 2s would need to hit it on 4s and wound it on 4s now.
That's true. Yeah. Even shooting.
Super... Oh yeah, shooting as well, which is scary. I think it's not a great combat piece because the battle mage is on top, but it's still something you can't underestimate. It'll still bully like anything that it fights that's weaker than it. He's got a battle mage, separate regiment, Callus and Toll, separate regiment. Already we're at 3 drops. And then we've got a free guild marshal with relic envoy with sacred tome. And I think that makes him a priest. Sacred tome. Yes, it becomes a priest. I was correct. So then he's got dueling pistol, short sword, Fusel Mage, Ogre Warhawk, secondary hero. It's not in his general's regiment, but he is a 5-drop, so he's very likely going to get field sergeant.
Yeah.
He's got the Ironwell Great Cannon, Fusiliers, another MSU Fusiliers, 2 Wildercorp Hunter units under Pontifex for battle tactics, 10 Free Guild Steel Helms. This is and a Scrawn Spine in his back pocket. This is a very good and honest army. If he has strong fundamentals, this army can punish most matchups. But I think the weakness of this army is that it doesn't have very strong hammers. But it's got a lot of It's got a lot of positioning tricks and resilience.
Yeah.
No hammers.
So tactics will be... I think it will be a lot more manageable for him. especially early on with the Wild Core Hunter as well.
Yep, it's an army that's very good on flexibility for sure.
Mhm.
So I hope he does well with this.
Mhm.
Good job on the list. Matthew Joseph Fournier. He's playing Brock's Bizarre Adventure. Aether Gold is Forever. Ah, JoJo reference. Amazing. Yep. So it's a reference to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Diamond is Forever, I think.
Yeah.
He's playing Aether Runners, which gives his ships +2 to their movement. He's led by Brock Grungson, Lord Magnate of Barak Nar, with a frigate with a heavy sky cannon, 6 Sky Wardens, and 6 Endrin Riggers, with both of which can move very fast and are basically going to be parachuting off of the frigate. Most likely. Yep. He's got an Endrin Master with Endrin Harness. I think this is the one that heals units. He's an Endrin Maestro. Celestial Burst Grenade, which removes ward saves from a hero until end of turn for 1 turn. If he wants to burst down something big with a ward save.
Oh, he's an
Ironclad. Yep. I don't see those very often anymore. With Reinforced Thunderers, which are also very scary at shooting.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, lots of shooting with this army, with the Thunderers.
This is the first time we're gonna have KO on the GT.
For 4th edition, yes.
Yeah.
We actually have 2 KO players, but this is the first time we're seeing KO in one of our GTs, like recently, which is very exciting. The Endrin Maestro adds 2 to range weapons. Oh my god! So the Endrin Maestro is in a combo with because he adds 2 to the range weapons. Characteristic used by friendly Caradron Overlord's infantry. So that's interesting
really
and scary.
Cool. Can't wait to see what the Ironclad can do.
This is a very this army is very good at bursting down for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So what's very good at Brock is that once per game he can give run and shoot to a unit, the run and shoot and charge to a unit in the movement phase. So he can pick up he can pick up the 3 friendly sky vessels. So this army can be very aggressive and bursty. I don't think they're meant to charge on the first turn, but he can give it to the frigate, and then the frigate will just do assault boat and charge with the 2 extra units of
fight first
of Sky Wardens to give them fight first, which
and
is
then power through back.
And then power through back away, which is a
great my god, I can imagine it. No.
Yeah, he can also give +1 attacks to Skyfarers. So basically the Sky Wardens and Endrin Riggers who are in combat range of Brock. And lastly, he can basically deal D3 damage at the end of any turn to enemy units within combat range of him, just as an extra fuck you before doing power through.
Yep.
Overall, very solid, very fun looking list. I hope KO players do. Miguel Eagle Aguila with his Skaven list, please jump on a 4+. So basically, this title telegraphs his entire game plan, but he's led by a Gracier. He's got Clan Rats, Reinforced Doomflayers, Reinforced Rattling Guns, Reinforced Warplock Giselles. Yeah, so lots and lots and lots of poking and shooting with Counter Punch from the Doomflayers. He's got a Verminlord Deceiver with Scurry Away, Foul Hide, and 2 ways to run away. On a 4+, the Deceiver has the ability to jump into another combat. With Foul Hide, he can heal. And with Scurry Away, on another dice roll, he can choose to retreat from combat. So it's very difficult to kill without shooting.
Yeah.
He's got a Death Master and Night Runners. So the Death Master is a good hero assassin piece, and the Night Runners is a very good battle tactic piece. Very good Skaven list. It's heavily inspired by Jordan of Warpfire Minis and his Valor reports, doing very well with this list. So yeah.
Yeah, no. It's really hard to catch. Really hurts with the shooting. With the Doomflayers as well. 3d6 attacks, I think. So
but what's really scary for me about Skaven in general is that if you make any mistakes, you're punished so hard for it.
Yeah.
Next, we got Miguel Angelo Samson. It's pronounced George Rack, Fist of Jork. I hope this guy loses. He's got Zogrok's Ironmongers. He's not even playing Gordrak. And he's got Zogrok Anvil Smasher. He's playing the army for now. I've never seen it played before, but it can be very potent if played properly. Zogrok Anvil Smasher can destroy wards. And the artifact, the big Great Wallapa on the Mega Boss down there, can basically give you -1 to save and cannot get positive modifiers to saving throws. So it's very strong into 3-up save armies.
Yes.
The Oi get back to it is if you do a rally command for Ard Boys or Brutes, you can roll 3 extra dice, which is very strong.
Yeah.
He's got 2 units of Ard Boys, and if they're wholly within, then they can give each other 5 up ward saves, making them ridiculous because it's 40 wounds on a 3-up save on a 5-up ward save, which is very strong. He's got an Ard Boy Big Boss in under the Mega Boss Regiment, which means he can't give it Field Sergeant unless he outdrops his opponent. So interesting choice. He can't do that unless he's playing a 2-drop. But it would really, this army would really benefit from Field Sergeant. He's got the Weird Knob Shaman, Brute Ragers, and Reinforced Brutes. Zogrox is a very interesting list. So the Ironmongers have the ability to where is Zogrok?
Things are crazy. They have a lot of. They're all on foot, but the things that they can do is really good. One's tanky, and then one's really deals a lot of damage with the brutes.
Yeah, he's got different lore as well. I'm not super familiar with it, but at the end of each turn, he can make it so that pick a friendly Zogrok's Ironmonger's unit that is 9 inches and had any damage allocated this turn. So if you shoot them, or if you basically shoot them, then they can move an extra d6. It's really interesting.
Oh, it's like World Eaters in 40k.
Yeah. So the entire army has extra damage against war machines and extra rend against war machines and faction terrain, which is random and funny. I already mentioned the 5-up ward. And lastly, if Zogrok is within combat range of an Ard Boy unit, he himself gets a 4-up ward save. And for every successful ward save he gets, you allocate 1 damage, basically bodyguard them on the boys. This army is actually very deceptively difficult to play. So good luck to Miguel Samson for playing this list.
Yeah, it's also a bit hard to play against, especially with the Ard Boy's ability to deal mortal wounds pre-combat. So that's really makes them a bit tanky. Even harder to you could lose models before you get to fight them.
Yep, with the shield bash, it's really
Yeah,
strong,
bash.
especially with the Ard Boy Big Boss giving it 5, doing on a 5-up.
Yeah.
Next, we've got Miguel Gabriel Mendoza. Patrick, you'll handle this.
Here.
Also, you can also read the
All right.
title.
His list name is Once Upon a Time in a Faraway Swamp. There lived an ogre named Shrek, whose precious solitude is suddenly shattered by an invasion of annoying fairy tale characters. They were all banished from the kingdom by the evil Lord Farquaad, determined to save their home. Not to mention his. Shrek cuts a deal with Farquaad and sets out to rescue Princess Fiona to be Farquaad's bride. Rescuing the princess may be small compared to her deep, dark secret. 1990 points over 2,000 points.
This is a spoiler for the Shrek movie, even though it's just the synopsis, which is not a spoiler. I'm being petty.
Yeah. It's Stormcast. I didn't realize it's Stormcast. It's a Stormcast Eternals. It's playing Vanguard Wing. So this is the ability that lets Vanguard chamber units teleport on a 3+. So more sources for movement shenanigans. He's a 2-drop. Same spell lore in Prayers. Manifestation lore is using primal energy for potentially Ravenax and Life Swarm if he wants any healing, especially when it comes to Karazai. He'll definitely need the Life Swarm. So for his list, we have a Karazai discard for his general. He has Praetors to give the 5-up ward to Karazai, as well as potentially a bodyguard unit if he chooses to go with that. He has a Vanguard Palador with Star Strike Javelins, so being able to shoot twice is really good combo with the Vigilors. The Vanguard Raptors with Long Strike Crossbows as well. These are the units that you can teleport with using the Vanguard Wing. His other regiment, he's a 2-drop, so he has Knight Arcanum for spellcasting. He has Mirror Shield, so he can't shoot them outside of 12 inches. Outside, I think 10 inches. Envoy of the Heavens, which gives him a 5-up ward to a unit if a friendly unit died in the previous turn. A unit of Liberators and 2 units of Vigilors. So yeah, it's a really shooting focused list that also has a Karazai in it. So it's both offensive in both melee and range, and there's a lot of threats. There's not a lot of things that you can. I don't think there's a lot of throwaway units. I would say the Liberators are there just to hold objectives, and yeah, yeah, overall pretty solid list. Lots of teleport, lots of movement to being able to run and retreat and shot, charge and shoot, as well as the Vigors being an obvious threat, just giving +1 to hit.
Yeah. All right, so we're down to our last 13 lists. Thank you for staying with us, guys. We're powering through. Oh my god, this is actually... I don't know how Rob does this every week. It's so tiring. Okay, let's see. Miles Silbor II, this name, BB Wargaming, and LeBron James Mega Team, a mega collab Sons of Behemoth list. So he's playing the King Broad Stomp, which gives a lot of different rampages to the units. He can do things like on a 3+, be able to fly 3d6, just like he could in 3rd edition. He can add extra attacks to his stomp attacks. He can also give a 5-up ward save to himself and transfer the damage. So Broad can get a 5-up ward save and transfer over the damage to another unit within combat range of him. He can also remove artifacts of power on a 3+ as a rampage. So if your army has anti-rampage deck, it's really good into this. But this is very strong with rampages. So
Yeah.
With its many different types of rampages. So he also has watch this. Sorry, this is the last rampage. But the target is a hero. You pick a Mega Gargant. Then pick an enemy unit in combat with it. If the enemy is a hero, beast, monster, or war machine, you roll 6. Otherwise, you roll a die for each target model in the target unit. For each roll that's equal or greater than the target's save characteristic, inflict 1 mortal damage on the target. So watch this is very strong against like armored units. So if you're fighting a unit of 40 Ardboys, you're rolling 40 dice, and for every 3-up, you deal a mortal damage.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, solid. Lots of tanky, lots of wounds. Tough to move.
Yeah. So the Broad James is basically Broad. The Gate Breaker that's under him is probably going to be Prized Beast with the Lucky Shiny Hat. The Lucky Shiny Hat gives you a 4+ ward against prayers and spells and manifestation abilities. Man Crusher Gargant Valerian under it. He's also got a War Stomper Mega Gargant, aka Lucas Stomp Kick. I'm sure this is like there's a theme to this.
It's a reference to Lakers players, I think.
I see. So I Can Do Better is the heroic trait, and what it does is after one model uses the fly ability, the War Stomp, this other extremely versatile in its movement. It's got 3 Man Crushers under it. Very solid list. 4 Man Crushers and 3 Mega Gargants. Hope this does well.
Yeah, very cool list.
Next, we've got Nakar Emmanuel Elumba. This guy is one of the rising newbies. He recently Rubicon.
Yep.
He's been hard at work. He's got a 2-drop Lumineth Realm Lords list with Vanari. He gets to pick a unit that gives, and they get -1 to hit against Vanari units in general. Elanian Elthor, which gets stronger each round that passes, switching between caster or combat mode general.
Yeah.
He's got a unit of Reinforced Sentinels, Reinforced Wardens, Reinforced Dawn Riders, so the bulk of his army is in his general's regiment, making for a very difficult slay to entourage. He's got a Scenari Caligrave for that. I think Caligrave is the one with the
Autocast?
Darkness of the Moon. No, yeah, that one, and it's the one that can cast the command point spell.
Change the casting roll to an 8. That's it. That's what it is. Automatic 8 casting.
Oh, it doesn't have that other spell. Okay, yeah, so that's really strong, especially if you want to cast a conjuration, a
manifestation.
What do you call this? A manifestation on your opponent's turn without any problems. It's got Master Tactician and Silver Wand. I think Master Tactician.
I think it's the minimum redeploy 4.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. That we see a lot of that ability, and it's very good.
Silver Wand is the extra casting, I think.
Yeah. So Masterful. Yep. So that is for super redeploys. He's got 2 units of MSU Blade Lords, kind of rare, but probably counting on opponents with volume fighting him, and the River Blades for battle tactics. Overall, very strong list, piloted by a very strong player. Yeah, on paper, very fragile, but that Dawn Rider will delete anything. The Silver One artifact lets him cast an extra.
Yeah.
So yeah, very good so far. Yep. Next, we got Narel Kakay Buena coming from Baguio. And his list is called the SM Airconless Lamig Fist Traffic Smashes Baguio Fist Boy, the Igor Wag, technically. Huh. So
Translate that to English.
Complaining about having no air condition. It's basically a string of frustrated words about being frustrated about being in an unair conditioned vehicle while stuck in traffic.
Yeah.
Which is very fair. He's playing Iron Jaws with a Weird Fist. Weird Fist is if you're within 12 inches of a War Chanter or a Weird Knob, and you are a foot unit, you get a 6 up ward save. You got a Weird Knob Shaman General, unit of Reinforced Ardboys, Reinforced Brutes, Maw Grunta with Hack and Crew, Mega Boss on Maw Crusher with Eye for the Fight, which is also another super redeploy ability. Trophy Skulls, which increases his control score while being on objectives. So I think his control score will be like 15 by himself. He's got an Ardboy Big Boss to buff the Ardboy unit on the side. And he's got a War Chanter and a unit of Reinforced Brute Ragers with a Boss Rock Tower. Very solid list overall. Manifestations of Gorka Mork are interesting. He's got the Foot, which gives the Stomped ability, which gives -1 to charge rolls if they're stomped.
Oh, we get to see the faction terrain too.
Yeah, so this is kind of hype.
Right.
Actually.
And I think he's also using your Mock Russia, I think, and some of the units as well. So that's very interesting.
Yeah, it comes back to me in one way or another, right? I do miss it. At the same time, I'm glad it's in the hands of someone who's willing to bring the WA somewhere else.
Yeah.
So the Gorka Aurora, the Mork Spit Marsh is a very good spell. It's cast on a 5. It's got a really big base. Enemy units can't use run abilities while they're within 6, which means they also can't redeploy. And you subtract control scores of enemy units while they're within 6 inches, which is it's a very strong manifestation lore, actually.
Yeah.
It also has the Gorka Aurora, which can buff an Iron Jaws unit on a 5+. And on the 5+, they can add 1 to charge rolls to units. Actually, it's weird. The ability is weirdly written. So it's pick either 1 or 2 to add to casting rolls or chanting rolls for the target until end of the start of next turn. Then roll number of dice equal to the number picked. So you can choose to add 1 to 2. Cast to the casting roll of a caster, most likely +2, so the Weird Knob Shaman and get extra buffs for the casting. If you roll a 1 or 2, though, on the roll, you add 1 damage point to the target unit, and ward saves can't be made. But for every 5 up, add +1 to charge. It's actually every spell in the lore is pretty good. So Iron Jaws is interesting. Hopefully this army does well. Very strong mid-lane bullies, mid-range bullies with lots of movement tricks. Surprisingly smart, big brain army to play. Yeah, up next is the reigning champion and guy you have to look out for sure, Nicolas Guillermo, with his list Hammer Time. He's playing the Ironwell Guild Company, the shootier option. Ironwell Guild.
I think this is the one that gives -1 to on the anti-alpha strike.
No, that's Fortress City Defenders.
Right.
So Ironwell Guild gives +3 to the range of units used by friendly City of Sigmar units. So it's there to buff his 2 units of Reinforced Fusiliers. This army is pure cheese. It's so tanky. It's so strong. It's got Callus and Toll as a general with Toll's companions, most likely to pick for bodyguard. He's got a Rune Lord and Brit Brazier to return new models with 2 units of Reinforced Hammers. Really tanky unit because they're likely going to be 3 up save, 5 up ward save on them with return D3 models. Yep. And -1 to wound if you get the prayer on them. If you with the Rune Lord, he's got Free Guild Marshal and wait, is it prayer or is it hold the line? I think with hold the line they get a special buff. No, hold the line is for humans. Never mind. But no, hold the line is for dwarves. What am I talking about? They get strike last and 5 up ward, and if the target is dwarden, they get -1 to hit rolls against them. It makes them really, really good into destruction.
Yeah.
Or trolls, because if you're 5 to 10 against this unit, you're not killing this unit. It's extremely difficult. He's got 2 units of Free Guild Cavaliers for battle tactics with a Free Guild Marshal and Relic Envoy with the Heirloom Hammer. He's got a Battle Mage with Master of Ballistics, similar to what JP has with Master of Ballistics on the Ogre Warhawk to give +1 to wound on all attack. And 2 units of Free Guild Fisher. Very strong list, actually.
Yeah, he also has Brazier of Holy Flame, which can bring back hammers as long as they're not engaged.
Yep. So I think that this army is very strong. if you don't know to dismantle it, you're basically gonna lose. It's gonna overpower most things it fights. So definitely study up on this army, and hopefully Nico does well. I'm running out of energy. Holy crap! Next, Nikola Jankovic, our second Serbian guest.
Woo!
He's got this. This is called Test. So this is a test list apparently. Very brave to bring a test to a GT. He's got he's a 2-drop. He's got Lore of Deep Wood, Primal Energy. He's got Alariel the Everqueen, the first one in the 3 Sylvanet list.
Yeah.
That we've seen with Alariel. Reinforced Kurnoth Greatswords. 2 units of Dryads and Spirit of Dirtu with Warsinger Seed of Rebirth, something we've seen before, and 3 Revenants. What's special about this list is Alariel can basically bring a unit that died back. I think this list is a lot less hitty, but it's a lot more mobile. It's got, well, not really mobile. It's still slow, but Sylvaneth in general can be mobile if you play it properly. Alariel is a very mobile piece who can revive herself upon death.
Yeah, they're also very
strong army.
Alariel, being able to bring back any unit.
Yeah, and the double Dryads in this very punchy meta is very brave choice, I think.
Oh, it's reinforced Dryads, so they're very tanky.
Yeah, they're tanky, but yeah, but they've got 1 health each, so a solid cavalry charge will normally wipe them. I think it's a very brave list to bring. It's very tough to play, and you have to be very deliberate with all your pieces. But if Nikola is willing to travel abroad to play this list, then he probably knows what he's doing. So looking forward to seeing how he runs it. Mm-hmm. All right, next we've got this very special individual.
Oh, it's me. No.
You want to talk about your list and the list after this?
Sure. So yeah, this is my list. So anyway, I started shooting is the name of the list. I'm using Vanguard Wing, which, like I said before, it gives my Vanguard units a 3-up teleport. I'm a 2-drop. I have the same spell lore and prayer lore. My manifestation lore is Morbid Conjuration. I have a Lord Aquilor with Quicksilver Draught. I want him to have the fight first. He also has the ability to teleport with the Paladors, as long as him or the Paladors are not engaged. So more movement for me, as well as more utility if in case I need to reposition myself. I have a unit of Aether Wings for +1 to hit, and because it doesn't fit, have enough points for the Gryph-hounds. So I have a fast unit in Dutacte, as well as give my Vanguard units +1 to hit. I have 2 units of Long Strike crossbows that are reinforced, so I'm very focused on the shooting aspect, as well as a little bit of the melee aspect for this list. I have a Knight Relictor, so I brought this list because it gives a -1 to ward rolls, which a lot of armies are starting to have a lot of ward saves. So this one is good to have since I want to focus more on the shooting aspect. Envoy of Heavens, so a 5-up ward to my units in case a unit died. Storm Coven, so I have a potentially 2-caster unit as long as they're contesting. Makes it me being able to cast Morbid Conjuration as well as Unbind spells, since spells are really strong and manifestations in general are strong. I also have a unit of Vigilers to lighten up my enemies with the shooting and the melee profile, since I'm more aggressive with my list. I also have Stormreach Portal. So yeah, it's a very aggressive list. It's really focused on just trying to deal as much damage as I can. Try to focus fire, and then in case you have ward saves, I can reduce your wards.
Yeah, no, strong list overall, and Patrick knows how to use the pieces. He's very annoying. He's become what he's hated. He's now reinforced Vanguard Raptor spam.
Yes.
Very evil list. If he rolls hot, then you're dead. If he rolls poorly, then yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, it had some weaknesses, but for the reason I made the list is specifically for it feels the reason why I made the list in the first place. Yep.
Okay.
So next one is Patrick Palma. His last name is Pat.
Back Patrick. Yep.
He's playing Ogre Maw Tribes as well, so the second Ogre Maw Tribes with B Sanders as well. He has a 3-drop with Everwinter Prayers. His regiment general is Kragnos. He has a Kragnos as general and 2 Beast Riders for 2 units. His other regiment is Frostorm Stonehorn with Elixir of Frostworm and Touched by the Everwinter. Elixir of Frostworm, I think this is the I think it's the one that gives the -5 control. I think. I don't know. It heals. In the shooting phase, if you're engaged, you roll a dice, and then you deal damage with that amount, and then you heal yourself for that amount. So very tanky. Gives them an extra source of healing aside from rally. And yeah, Huskard on Thunder Tusk as well as a second hero. So you can potentially give this the Primal Beast ability. Oh, it's also a priest, yeah. And then he has a Huskard on Stonehorn. That's also a priest. So he has 3 priests. 6 monsters overall. So really big on the charges. So still the same 4 to 6 mortal wounds on the charge with 3d6 giving them an extra source of being able to reach you early on with Kragnos. He also has a Maw Pot instead of the Maw Pit, so he'll be able to pray with 2 prayers during his turn instead of just 1. So it mostly guarantees he'll be able to get that 10 plus on the prayer very early on.
Does Maw Pot now give prayers and not healing anymore?
It still gives healing, but it also gives a +1 to your prayers. +1 power to your prayers.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
So you can pray twice.
Yeah, this looks like a much more impatient army. It looks like it wants just to throw down, have a good time.
Yeah, deal a lot more wounds on top of that.
Yep. Win on the charge, basically. That's really strong.
Speaking of winning on the charge.
All right, so we've got the next one. Senator. No, not Senator.
No, that's it.
Same name, though. Risa Hontiveros, and her list is called Risa GT. And she's playing Thanquol's Mutated Menagerie, which is one of the best armies. And it's led by Thanquol. It's got a Master Molder for that Field Sergeant because they recently gave an update patch where the Master Molder can now be put in a regiment as a sub-hero, I think. And that basically buffed all of Skaven in some way.
Yes.
It's got Reinforced Storm Fiends. It's got another Master Molder with Pack Tactics and Warpstone Innards. And I don't remember what those do off the top of my head. Helpit Abomination. It's got another unit of Reinforced Storm Fiends and a unit of Rat Ogres. Warpstone Innards. Add 1 to the attack characteristic of a friendly non-hero mutated menagerie monster. And then you deal D3 damage to it later.
Oh, interesting.
And Pack Tactics. Let's see. What does Pack Tactics do? This looks like a strategy theme.
Pack Tactics is pick 2 non-hero mutated menagerie monsters. So the Helpit Abomination.
Yes. So Storm Fiends.
All-out attack.
I know, yeah.
Or all-out defense for the turn, even though you used it on someone else. So you basically can get 2. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. All right, that's good versatility because the army is very small.
Mm-mm.
I think this army gets shredded by Stormcast really hard, but in general, what Thanquol's Mutated Menagerie does is it gives buffs to each of its units, and there's a very chance that you're facing down an 8 wound Storm Fiend with a 5-up ward, but every turn they degrade by taking damage. So very strong brawler army. If you cannot deal decisive amounts of damage to this, or if you're dealing slow grindy damage, you will lose to this army. Otherwise, this army is very heckin' strong.
Yeah, the longer the game goes up, the harder they are to kill. So watch out for that.
Up next, we've got Rick Tidoy, Rotten Rick Tidoy, or Rick as we'd like to call him, with Seraphon and Sunclaw Starhost. It's a 3-drop with Primal Energy, Lore of Celestial Manipulation. It's got a Slan Star Master for bringing back units and the extra casting buff of Skotal Familiar once per game. He's got Raptodon Chargers, Saurus Guard, Skink Star Priest for that extra Field Sergeant if he wants that option. He's got the Saurus Old Blood and Carnosaur with Beastmask for extra movement, Agrodon Lancers reinforced, Saurus Warriors for taking objectives and just holding it, Saurus Scar Veteran on Carnosaur for 2 Carnosaurs, and a Bastildon with Solar Engine. This is a monster mash list. It's very interesting, but it's mostly about having Saurus and slowly grinding your opponent out. So it's less tanky, which is a bit controversial. No Croxigors either, so it's a little... It feels a little thin, but it's a lot more mobile. So he's probably playing for a different aspect of Seraphon here. And I don't know what Rick's playstyle is going to be this time around, but he's got good magic. He's got fast, mobile, hitty creatures.
Yeah, from the looks of it, he has a lot of variety in his list.
Yeah, and he can resurrect units, so he's probably going to throw his... sorry, guys. He's probably going to throw his Agrodon, his screens forward, and then when they die, the Slam's going to resurrect them when you try to go for the Slam. So yeah, good list overall. Moving on. 76 with Pile of Violence. Very straightforward. God's Wrath Warband. Forbidden Power. Chaos Sorcerer Lord with Reinforced Chosen. With Banner Screaming Flash. Reinforced Chosen. Mind Stealer Spheranx, which is very rare. That can possibly give Strike Last, I believe.
That's a rare one.
It's a very rare pick. It feels like discount Be'lakor in a way for what its function in the Slaves Army is, but not picking Be'lakor means pick more units because Be'lakor is expensive. A God Summoner, so that he can throw one of the chosen unit with the Banner Screaming Flash in Silver Tower like a Pokeball, launch it out, and let him Deep Strike 3d6 charge with it. Very strong. With Infernal Puppet and Radiance of Dark Glory for the healing. Chaos Chariot with Great Blade and Chaos Spawn with a unit of Ogroid Therodon. So this is actually very tanky, very strong.
Yeah, he has 3 hammers army. Instead of just usual 2.
Yeah, he's got Therodons, 2 units of Chosen, and a Spawn and Chariot, most likely for scoring tactics. Overall, very strong army, very solid, straightforward, punchy list. But, that's it. And we're down to our last 3 lists. Thank God.
Woo!
Winner with Can You Smell What the Brock is Cooking? Probably my favorite list name overall. And he's got Aether Runners, +2 to movement for the ships again. Brock Grunson, we talked about that. 2 frigates with heavy sky cannons. Reinforced Endrin Riggers and Sky Warriors. So very similar to the other lists in a way. He's got a Navigator with Endrin Maestro and Celestial Burst Grenade, similar to a while ago. 2 units of Argonaut Company. This is an inspired choice. And a unit of Reinforced Thunderer. So a lot of similarities, but without the Ironclad.
Yes. It's good. A lot of shooting, a lot of variety. 2 frigates, so they can move.
Sorry, go.
Was that? They can just move. They have a lot of movement shenanigans with 2 frigates.
Yeah, and the Navigator gives an extra 3-inch movement to friendly units if he rolls 6s on the ability, or on 1 he deals D3 damage and have their movement. I actually really like the Navigator. It also has an Unbind, which is something that KO sorely needs.
Ooh. Yeah, especially with this meta right now with Magic.
I think this is a smart person list, and it's all going to be all about whether or not Win is able to properly put his strength of the strength of his frigates into the right targets in the right time. If he's able to do that, he wins most of his matchups, I think.
Yes.
So yeah, good luck to Win. Next, we've got Emir Yael Agulto with his 1-drop Nagash list.
This is the shortest list I've seen, I think.
Yep. It is very short. It's got no heroic traits, no artifacts, just straight to the point. It's got Mortex Phalanx, which pick a friendly Mortec Guard unit that's been destroyed. On a 5-up, you can set up a replacement unit with the target unit, rounding up. On the battlefield, more than 9 inches away. So that's really good. So
yeah,
it only works on the 1 Mortec Guard unit, though. And Nagash can also bring a unit back because he's Nagash. So Nagash, if you don't know what he does, he casts lots of spells. He can basically murder people with mortal damage. He can bring back a unit that's died this turn. And he can also play a gotcha game if you enjoy gotcha games. Yeah. He puts a die in each hand, and he plays hand. If he picked the wrong hand, the unit he's in combat with basically dies at the end of turn, which is really cool.
He can also give 5-up wards for all of the units in the army, basically.
Yeah, with his spells. Yep. He has got an Immortus Guard unit, Cavalos Death Riders, not reinforced, interesting, and then a reinforced unit of Harbingers, which is his primary hammer. This whole army basically revolves around the Harbingers being his primary hammer, and the rest of the army scoring tactics and gumming up the board and bullying smaller targets.
Yes.
So good luck to Emir. I think this list is very interesting. It looks like it's tough to pilot, but if he plays with a level of intent, it can definitely work out. We're going down to our last list. Patrick, take us away with this final Stormcast list.
With Zach Yonzon's list, we have Bastion of Annihilation. It's the army of renown for Stormcast. So he's playing Heroes of the First Forge. He's a 3-drop, and his prayer lore is Heroes of the First Forge. Yep. So general is Bastion Carlos. So a pre-game move, free all-out attack. It's pretty cool. He has Meteoric Grand Hammers, 2 of them that are reinforced. I think the ability of the Heroes of First Forge is they can teleport outside of 3 inches of an enemy unit, but only 1 unit, as long as they're wholly within 6 of Bastion Carlos. So a potential 3-inch charge, which was usually deep strike is 9 inches, is a really big thing, especially when you have Grand Hammers as the one that will be charging. Gardo Steel Soul gives a +1 attack if he makes the charge to other friendly units. Lord Castellan with Thane of Bellicose and the Shield of what's that? Chordamar.
Skjordhammer.
And then a reinforced unit of Annihilators as well as Praetors for the 5-up ward on his heroes. He has a Knight Relictor that gives him -1 to wars, like the list that I had. So what this list focuses on is what I noticed is it gives a lot of anti-wards, either from its I think it's Thane of Bellicose or the Shield. Yeah, where they can do ward saves if they're in an objective. With the Knight Relictor with a -1 to wards, and then I think the Heroes of First Forge ability also Lord Castellan also has the ability that gives no wards if you're engaged with them.
Yep.
So
this is a Nurgle killer.
Yep, it's very interesting against Nurgle. So
yeah, for sure. I think it's Skjordhamar. I think you were right the first time.
Okay.
So that's interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, my bad. So Heroes of the First Forge, what do you think the focus of this army is? It's anti-ward and what else? Charging, just basically charge.
Yeah, basically charge, and then they can charge in combat. The Annihilators, if they roll an 8+, they can give Strike Blast on enemy unit. The Annihilator, regular Annihilators, if you get charged, if you roll a 6 on 3 or 6 dice, the enemy fights last. So it's a lot of combat heavy. Not a lot. There's no shooting in the list, so it focuses on really being able to do a deep strike and then being able to charge and deal damage with the Grand Hammers. He needs to play a little bit more careful with where he places his Grand Hammers, because since they have 4-inch movement, they won't be able to go anywhere else as long as if people move out of the way. So
this is a very all or nothing army.
Yeah,
it's the impression I'm getting. You got Carlos, Annihilators, and Gardas all teleporting in one side, and then the rest of the board is probably going to be something they have to charge into for them to get value.
Yeah, they have tough units that are going to be defending, and then it's really strong units that are going to be charging in.
Okay, we did it, Pat. We did 40
lists.
We're not dead.
Oh my god!
We survived. I'm so happy, but at the same time, I'm even more excited to see all the players this weekend.
Yeah,
we're gonna do some prep this early Saturday morning, and set up all the tables and stuff. I can't wait. Wartilyo GT is something I look forward to every year, and I cannot wait to see. If you're watching this and you're a player, I can't wait to see you on Saturday and Sunday. If you are watching this from abroad, I hope you enjoyed our little deep dive into the local Filipino meta. And yeah, I can't wait to do another video next week on the winner of this GT.
Oh, good luck to all the players. Whoever wins, you get the golden ticket. So good luck to everyone.
Yep. This tournament is going to be very special. It's a 40-player tournament. Yep. We've never had something like this before, so I'm very excited. Crazy. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. If you enjoy this kind of content and want to keep up with what's happening here in the Age of Sigmar scene in Manila, give us a like, give us a sub, and leave us a comment to give us feedback on what we can improve on. And with that, thank you very much, and see you guys in the next video.
Bye, guys.